Qu'est-ce que tu veux chercher? Le bien par le mal, la vertu par le vice. Sade, dis-moi, pourquoi l'évangile du mal? Quelle est ta religion? Où sont tes fidèles? Si tu es contre Dieu, tu es contre l'homme. Sade, es-tu diabolique ou divin?
Who's ready to get raptured? I don't know about you. I don't know about you. I don't know about me. Take me, Lord. I'm ready. Take me, Lord. I am ready. I am ready. Don't mind me, I'm a little wet. It was raining outside and I started to get raptured. And I got wet. I had to come back down. Like, hold on, let me... I got a stream to do. Take me later, Lord. I am but a minion unto the Lord. I interrupted getting raptured. Yeah, they do it in shifts. I swapped places with someone. I'm going later in the day. I've got something fun for us today. Check this out. You know, given the occasion, getting raptured is slow and painful. I've been going for 3 hours. I don't know what's going on, but I've seen people just stalled out in the air. I've seen some people like halfway up. I'm like, are they even moving? Like, I don't know, like, there's just all sorts of bugs. I saw some guy that got stuck in a tree. Chat, we've got a themed presentation today. We're going to talk about why is it that humans are obsessed with the end of days. If you aren't aware, there were some people claiming that the rapture was going to happen today or tomorrow. Could be tomorrow. We'll have to wait till Thursday to see. So we're going to talk about it because this isn't the first time that people told us that the end of the world was going to happen. It's probably not going to be the last time that it happens either. In fact, we've done it a lot in our history. We've done it quite a few times. We'll go over some examples of those times. But yeah, this is the presentation topic for today. I think this is a pretty fun one. Although we'd have a little bit of fun today, considering that we're all going to get raptured sometime within the next 36 hours. Was I supposed to be raptured today? Are you on the list? Wasn't Ragnarok supposed to happen a couple of years ago? It did. We are in Fimbulwinter right now. That's why everything sucks. I'm ready, I'm dressed. The irony of that is that you go up naked, you leave your clothes behind. And I gotta say, it's awkward walking around outside with just a bunch of naked people hanging in the air. It's like, I don't want to see that, especially from underneath. I don't want to see that from below. It's the worst angle. Will I get raptured if I'm high? Yes. I'm never getting naked ever. Sure thing, never nude. I can't, I'm not getting naked. You don't, okay. To my understanding, the way the rapture works is that you don't have a choice in whether or not you get naked. Your clothes just fall off of you and you just start going up. I'm naked everywhere I go. It must be very liberating. In reality, I'm a naked person cosplaying as a closed person. Clothed. What about consent? This does raise some interesting implications as far as how much consent is respected in this process. Me, my bones have clothes. You aren't your bones. If you're anything, you're your nervous system. Everything that exists within you, your bones, your muscles, your organs, it's all there to perpetuate the survival of your nervous system. So if anything, you're a brain with a bunch of dangly bits. Kinda neat. Anyway, welcome back to the Brain Domain. It's Tuesday, 23rd of September, and we're ready. We're ready. We're ready to go. We're just waiting on the elevator. Hey, wise one, I have a question. Nobody's ever called me wise one before. Unless they were calling me a wise ass. I've been called that several times. Goddamn ads. Quick, everybody think and pray. Think and pray into getting a subscription. Thoughts and prayers, Mander Bopander. Heavy's another with the gifted sub to Mander Bobander. God works in mysterious ways. Our thoughts and prayers worked. I don't know about you, but that's proof enough for me. I'm ready. I don't know about you, but that's all the proof I need. I'm convinced. Alright, let's take a look at this question. So actually, me and my friend, we are in chat right now, and we have a problem. My friend thinks I could not care less about him. That's your friend, though. Of course they care about you. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. That's your friend. Of course they care about you. I told him, no, I care about you, of course, but he struggles to believe me. So, we are wondering, both of us together, how we can go about this problem. I don't want him to feel like I don't care, but he has trust issues. He also allowed me to write this. He's a cool dude. Then the window is opening. The window is opening. That trust will continue to grow. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just think about this for a second. Is trust something that you can develop quickly? Or is trust something that we take time to build? I would say it depends on what it is that you're trusting somebody to do. If you're trusting somebody to fix your car and you go into the car shop, and I don't know this person, but, you know, they're wearing a jumpsuit, and they've got grease all over their hands, I trust them to fix my car. But when it comes to other things, things are which are more intimate, things are which, you know, we feel more vulnerable to express. You know, it can be harder to let people in. We don't want to let people that close because we're afraid of getting hurt. But you want people to get in close, because that's the only way that they can hug you. All you have to do is just continue to talk about it, continue to explore those feelings, and continue to grow. And so the next time he says, I feel like you don't care about me, just, instead of, you know, because reassurance reassurance can be nice, right? Reassurance can be helpful, but reassurance doesn't always cut it. Sometimes you have to help the person arrive at the conclusion themselves instead of just saying, no, don't think that way, think this way. You want to try to get them there. And so when somebody says, I just feel like you don't trust me, instead of saying, no, you can trust me, you say, what makes you say that? What has you feeling that way? You know, have them talk about it more, have them get into it, go over the details, be like, well, you know, maybe I'm just feeling insecure today, or maybe something was said and I maybe, misinterpreted or took it the wrong way. That's the way you do it. Because guess what? That's a great way to show the person that you do care. Because how would a person that cares about you act? They would want to know why you feel the way that you feel, right? That's a big part of caring for someone. And so I'm going to show you that I care for you by caring for you right now. Instead of just telling you I care for you, I'm going to show you that I care for you. You like the angelic music in the background? I felt it fitting today. Feel like it's important to do both? You want peanut butter and jelly, of course. They're both fine on their own, but together there's something special. What I've learned in working in mental health is that you can't just affirm people out of feeling some type of way. You can't just keep telling them like, no, you shouldn't feel that way, you should feel this way. Like sometimes that is helpful. Sometimes that does help to, get a new perspective on things. Sometimes that does help to overcome some barriers. But ultimately, words are just words. As funny as this rapture psychosis is, I hope it breaks at least a few people's brains out of the cult. Yeah, anybody who's in a doomsday cult, snap out of it. Like, I'm okay with faith. I'm okay with spirituality. What I'm not okay with is institutionalized patriarchy and fear-mongering. I'm not okay with that. I'm in a one-person doomsday cult. Are you having fun at least? Just simply existing, not knowing what I'm doing, then you've already gone farther than most. Where a lot of people cause themselves undue suffering is they insist upon themselves. I need to know who I am, I need to know what to do, I need to know how to act, I need to know what to think and how to feel. I need to have every aspect of my life pre-planned and predetermined, and it needs to go exactly as I expect it to. That causes people a lot of grief. A lot of grief. I'm also just existing. It's the only way to be. I don't normally eat snack cakes, but it's the end of the world, so why not have a cosmic brownie? Going through so much existential shit. At least you're going through it. At least you're not stuck in it. Apparently it started from a pastor on TikTok. Yep. Was that Casey yelling? Oh yeah, Atticus was barking. Atticus was barking. She was getting him settled down. We do still have a few of the snack cakes left, but we gave a bunch of them away. Our neighbors took several boxes of them. We still have quite a few here, but we gave away most of them. Those poor neighbors. They did it willingly. This isn't a situation I'm in. I'm just curious. Hold on, let me get this dog. He's just barking out there. Hold on. Hey, getting raptured, y'all want anything? Ooh, yeah, will you give me like a snack wrap or something? What I saw was a bunch of people getting raptured and they were getting carried through the McDonald's drive-thru for some reason. I just saw several naked people suspended in the air going through the line. It was wild. Alright, I had to get Atticus settled in. He was barking at a delivery driver, which is so stereotypical of you, Atticus. Barking at a delivery driver. Tommy! Thank you for the 13 months, by the way. Alright, let's check out this question. If there's someone suffering from schizophrenia, but they're refusing to go to a doctor for it, but they're not violent towards others, but they're violent towards themselves, are they just dead for refusing help, or is there another way? There is another way. It'll depend on what country you're in. I can only really speak to the laws in the United States, and the laws are pretty much the same in most of like Europe and stuff, but it's not universal. Typically what they will look at as far as putting somebody in an involuntary hold is, are they a danger to themselves or others? And so they're included in that. If they're at risk of harming themselves, people can be involuntarily put on a psychiatric hold for evaluation. For most people, it's a minimum of like 72 hours. For some people, it ends up being longer, especially if they're, very sick. This can also go for other conditions where someone is dying and refuses help. This is different from just any condition, because when it's specifically a mental health condition, that's the only time that people would intervene against your will, is because you're not in the right frame of mind. You're in mental distress, and so it's assumed that you might not be making the best decisions for yourself, and so people try to act on your behalf in order to prevent harm to you. When it comes to other types of like illnesses and conditions, you have the right to refuse treatment, but for mental health conditions, the laws are a little different. Let's take a look in history. The Baker Act. It was originally passed in Florida, of all places. That actually makes sense. You know what? It makes absolute sense that Florida is where the Baker Act got passed. Just considering what it is. It makes perfect sense. It was the law that allowed certain professionals, like doctors, mental health practitioners, judges, and law enforcement, to detain and involuntarily commit individuals to a mental health facility for up to 72 hours. This action can be taken if there is evidence of a violent or suicidal behavior associated with a severe mental health condition, or if the individual is at significant risk of harm due to an inability to care for themselves. So like someone with some sort of like disability. Oh, look, they got all the stats too. The fascists want to bring back more widespread voluntary commitment. Okay, well, I just want to say that prior to this, it was worse. The idea of involuntarily being committed is not fun to think about, but before this, it was worse. There was even less discretion as far as what would get people institutionalized. And so this was actually passed to prevent people from being involuntarily committed unnecessarily. They want to bring back. They just want to go back to 1955. Where has endless purity testing gotten us? Not getting raptured, obviously. Didn't Jesus say something about not throwing stones if you live in a glass house? Pretty sure Jesus said that. Verbatim. Hey man, if you live in a glass house, you probably shouldn't throw rocks. That's Mark 15:23. Where is this endless purity testing gotten us? It helps us to be more empathetic and understanding and compassionate, but this type of practice can also be used to, chastise or to, hold superiority over other people. I've seen a lot of people call others out on their behaviors, not because they actually care about correcting the behavior, they just want to hold it over the other person's head. Going to play League of Legends? Godspeed. For clout? Basically. But what's important to remember is that any type of progressive movement or progressive space, it needs room for nuance. If you're committed to like educating, growing, if you want people to actually be doing better instead of just feeling bad about what they're doing now, anyway, I think we're over it. If I'm being like... I just can't do my dishes until they pile up. And that's why it's hard for you to do your dishes, is because every time you do your dishes, you're doing dishes at maximum difficulty. Every time you do dishes, you're doing dishes on hard mode. And so, if you could get into the habit of just staying on top of your dishes as they accumulate, it will be much less stressful for you, and then you won't view the act of doing dishes as, ugh, this ordeal. Just can't. Why not? You know how to do it, right? You know how to do it, right? You do know that real men wash dishes, right? If you like having clean dishes, you should like doing dishes. Woman knows best. Untrue. I'm actually the best at doing dishes in the house. Not to brag, ladies, but I could probably wash circles around you. I'm very good at washing dishes, so... It's important to recognize when you're allowing tasks to build up to the point where they get so irritating and so annoying that you just can't help but do something about it. It's like having a toxic relationship with your chores. And that's why you end up hating doing chores, because they're just viewed as this like weekly or semi-weekly thing that just really sucks to do. But it doesn't have to be. It's just about learning how to stay on top of it so that it doesn't bother you so much. 1v1 me in the kitchen. I've got a scrub daddy and a dream. You know, maybe that's the problem. Maybe you just need the right dishes equipment. See, you know, I uphold a lot of chores at the house, and so I like to make sure that I'm well equipped to do the chores I need to do. You know, if I'm gonna do the dishes, I'm not gonna do it with some stinky old rag. I'm gonna get one of the best scrubbers that modern cleaning science can provide me. Scrub daddy and a what? Scrub daddy and a dream. You know what I even got the other day? I got it at Costco. It's this Roto scrubber. I got the big one. Yeah, this one. What the hell is that? It's a scrubber. It spins. It's waterproof. It's got all sorts of different attachments. It's got an extension rod. I'm curious what you use to wash the floor. We have tile floor, so I vacuum it, and then I mop it. That's what I do. I like to use the scrubber on, like, random, hard-to-reach places or places that are just annoying to scrub by hand. We've got another question. I saw you as a robot employer? Oh no. Oh no. I don't like subservient robots. I like to work with the robots. It's a collaborative effort. If I had a Roomba, I would just get mad at it. Alright, let's check out this question. I have 2 brothers who moved away across the country to different cities, leaving just me with my parents. It's like they left and haven't looked back to their hometown. My parents take trips 2 to 3 times a year to see them. My parents would like to move closer to them, but don't want to leave me here on my own even though I'm grown. Your parents are being pulled in 3 directions. Hard choice. It annoys me that the dynamic is having to go their way to see them. I don't know if this is normal for people who move far away from home or they don't go back to their hometown to see the family. It depends. It depends on why you leave. You know, if you're leaving for school or a career opportunity, you know, it makes sense that you would still go home to visit. If you left on good terms, you've got no reason to stay away. But not everybody moves out on good terms, you know? Sometimes there's a lot of painful memories in a hometown, you know? So... One thing I learned way too late is you can never go back home again after a certain age. Home is where the heart is. Where's your heart at? I think about the future and how it's going to be me taking care of things as my parents grow older and eventually pass away. I feel like once my parents are gone, I'll see my brothers when they collect their inheritance, and I'll probably never see my brothers unless I make an effort to go across the country. I feel like I have this bitterness building and it's in my head. Talk to your brothers about how you are feeling. If you have these feelings, talk about them. Don't pre-write the next 30 years of your life. You could do something about it now. Hey, brother, it's been a while. You know, how come I never hear from you? When are you coming back to visit? If you sit idly by and do nothing, your prediction may very well come true. But you could play an active role in making sure that that doesn't happen. Otherwise, you're just going to become more resentful, more bitter, and it's just going to get harder and harder to do. Nine times out of 10, relationship problems can be resolved by just talking. Unfortunately, that's not always easy. And some don't like to talk. But the thing about that is, okay, so you don't like to talk, but you also don't like having problems. And so you avoid a potential solution to your problems because it would involve momentary discomfort. We would rather live in pain indefinitely I think it has something to do with how our brains are wired. The idea of a potential unknown pain is scarier than a familiar pain. We're afraid of change, even if it's good change. So don't let fear run your life. Otherwise, you're just going to end up in a lot of unnecessary pain. Talk to your family about how you feel. That's what'll give you the best chance at making things change. And it sounds like that's what you're looking for. Doesn't have to be a fight. You don't have to yell at each other. You don't have to scream at each other or cuss each other out. You don't have to be angry. Doesn't have to be any of that. Hey, it's been a long time since we've talked. How have you been? When do you think you'll stop by next? When do you think you'll come back and visit? You don't want that bitterness to just continue to grow and interfere with your relationships even more. Just a hypothetical. Let's say you were to get a phone call, and this person was like, "How come you never come back home? How come you never see me? Do you not like me? You must hate me. You must only care about your inheritance." You know, if you come at them angry, if you come at them, guns a-blazing, that's going to make them less likely to want to actually start re-engaging with the family. so if you talk to him, it doesn't have to be anything confrontational. You know, it could just be, hey, what's new with you? I haven't talked to you in a while. Should come out and visit sometime. It'd be nice to see you. I feel like that would run a much better chance of something positive happening. Are you ready? Are you ready to get raptured? I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to get raptured, TBH, because I gotta go to the bathroom, and I don't want to be pissing while I'm up there. It just seems rude. I want to stay here. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to go. I'll be right back. We'll get into our little presentation. This will be a fun one. We should have a rapture party. That's what this is. He's gonna poop? Not true. I pooped before stream. That's why the opening was 30 minutes long. Innocente Domini Patris. Amen. Can you imagine me in the celestial choir? Just belting out notes? Oh. All right. I wanted to do something fun today, since there's people who think the rapture is going to happen. If this seems familiar, like we've been here before, because it has, several times in fact. And so let's talk about it. Why is it that humans are so obsessed with the end of days? The end is near. Maybe. Maybe. 50-50. Either it does or it doesn't. If you look back across the lengths of history, you will see that there are countless examples of groups that believed that they were living in the end of days. All the way back to ancient civilizations, medieval prophets, all the way up to today with the modern doomsday preachers. This is a pattern that has repeated for thousands of years. And so this raises some interesting questions. Why do so many assume that the end will happen in their lifetime? And Why do we have such a hard time letting go of this fixation on the end? Let's get into it. First off, let's take a quick trip through history and look at some examples of failed predictions for the end of the world. Let's go all the way back to ancient Egypt, 2800 BC. Ancient Egyptians used to predict that the world would end in chaos and flooding. They had their own doomsday prophecies. Moving up to early Christianity, when Jerusalem fell around 66 to 70 CE, or AD, they believed that the fall of Jerusalem was the mark of the start of the apocalypse. Then again, in 500, Christian theologian Hippolytus declared the end is here. And he was using some biblical math. I don't know what that looks like exactly. He crunched the numbers. He crunched the numbers, all right? That's all I'm going to say. He crunched the numbers. In the year 1000, there was panic all across Europe as the first millennium ended. Does that remind you? Does that remind you a little bit of what happened at the end of the second millennium? In the year 1666, the number of the beast year sparked widespread fear in London. In 1844, William Miller had this, it was a tremendously large cult. There was like somewhere between 50 and 100,000 members all across like New England. He had predicted the end of the world a few times and it didn't happen, and so they refer to this event as the Great Disappointment. In the year 1910, there were people who were panicked about the arrival of Halley's Comet. They were afraid that its tail was going to poison Earth. And then, entering the modern era, you start to see more of these like grifter types. And so you get these preachers like Pat Robertson, who was always predicting the end of the world. And there's a few others, you know, Jim Baker and some other guys, but I can't be bothered to remember the names of a bunch of old white dudes. I'm sorry. Just don't have the space for it. Then, of course, in the transition from 1999 to 2000, people were very concerned about Y2K. All the computers are going to crash. The banks are going to collapse. Planes are going to fall out of the sky. It's going to be a real bad time. And then in 2012, the year that the Mayan calendar was supposed to end, that was also, they even made a movie about it with John Cusack. Terrible film. And so these are just some examples throughout history of times where people thought that everything was going to end, but it didn't. So, why is this idea so appealing? You know, we keep falling for it. We keep repeating this pattern. What is it that has us so hooked? Let's think about it. There are plenty of different reasons why a person might find themselves thinking about the end of things. We're going to explore a few. There were some good ones that you guys were listing in chat already. You guys were able to identify some. But let's take a look. A major one for people is the idea of the end of suffering. Wouldn't it be nice if all of life's pains and struggles and stress all vanished? Yeah, sure, absolutely. That'd be great. Building off of that, you also see this idea of a freedom from obligations. No more bills? You're telling me I don't have to go to work tomorrow? I can skip the gender reveal party? The idea of this end can also provide people with a sense of relief, a form of psychological comfort. It can make minor inconveniences feel like less of a big deal since the end is near and stuff like that. I don't know if you've heard any stories, but I've heard some about people, emptying their savings account and giving money and cars away to people like, oh, I'm not going to need it because I'm going to get raptured. Ultimately, it gives us a conclusion to the human story. It's that ultimate resolution. Everything can finally make sense. Life can be scary and confusing sometimes. And so having some answers would be nice. What would you say is the underlying trend of all of these different reasons why a person might find themselves looking forward or thinking about the end? I think the big thing is just a feeling of relief, certainty. We're anxious creatures. We're wired to wonder about what could go wrong or what could hurt us so that we can increase our chances of surviving. We're obsessed with everything that could hurt us. And so to take a break from all of that, or to be free of that burden, for some people that sounds like a pretty good deal. One thing that we didn't include here was how some people are sold on the idea through their doctrine, and they're promised, glory or, an eternity of conscious bliss. You get to meet your maker, and you get to hang out on a cloud with your childhood dog. If you think about it, though, there's a certain amount of ego involved in believing that I'm going to be here to see the end of it. I'm going to be a part of the big finale. When you believe that you will be one of the special chosen people to be there for the end, it can be really uplifting. Believing that you'll be one of those that gets to witness the end, it can make a person feel very special. It can even make a person feel like they were chosen by their creator. You get to be here for the big finale because you're my specialist little angel. It's also a little narcissistic. Let's get into it. When you think about it, alright, so let's run the numbers real quick. Homo sapiens, which is us, first emerged approximately 300,000 years ago. This means that there have been an estimated 100 to 117 billion humans that have lived on our planet throughout our history. It's a lot of farts. If you count one generation as 30 years, because, you know, some people will view generations different. We're going to do like 30 years roughly as a generation. That's 10,000 generations. So you're telling me that it's your generation that gets to see how it all plays out? Very interesting. Very interesting. This belief puts a person in a starring role in humanity's story. Which, just considering the, you know, all of the history and all of the, you know, considering all those numbers, I blame the boomers. The boomers do it because the boomers are a very narcissistic generation, but they weren't the first to do it. Probably won't be the last to do it either. Unless they were right this time. Unless this actually is the time in which I guess I'll have egg on my face. But wouldn't it make you feel special if you got to be there for the big finale? All of those thousands of years of human history, all building up to this, and you get to be there for it. Because you're such a special little boy. Or a special little girl. Or a special little they, them. We're not going to judge. It also explains why so many who believe in the end also believe that the Earth is only a few thousand years old. It helps to fit the narrative if the Earth is younger than it really is. If the Earth has only been around for a couple thousand years, you know, it makes more sense on a cosmic time scale, like, yeah, there's a beginning and an end. But if I'm just a speck on a speck, you know, it's a bit harder to sell. Earth is flat, prove me wrong. No. I won't. I support your freedom to believe what you want to believe. What type of influences would you expect to see in a person's behaviors if they had this belief that the world was going to come to an end within their lifetime? Let's take a look at it. Holding on to those types of beliefs can definitely have some significant effects on a person's behavior, both for better or for worse, actually. Let's talk about it. It's not all bad. It's not all bad. If a person believes that the world will end, they might end up living more sincerely. They might live in a more authentic way. They might show greater generosity and compassion. There could be some positives here. They might live each day like it really matters. There are also some negative shifts that you can expect to see in a person's behaviors. That belief that you are one of the chosen few can very easily lead a person into feelings of superiority over others. It could also lead a person to engage in more self-serving or reckless behaviors. Why plan for tomorrow if there won't be one? It could also create a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, or judgmental behaviors. The end is a critical time, and that would result in more critical behaviors. Are we getting raptured today? Yes, that's the plan. I'm gonna get raptured in the middle of a Helldivers 2 match. I'm gonna be diving into hell while floating into heaven. The irony. So I wanted to include this because believing that the world is going to end isn't always a bad belief. For most people it is, but it's not always negative. And I just wanted to, I don't know. There can be positive benefits to living every day like it's your last, is all I'll say. Let's talk about this pattern. What is it about this pattern? What does it say about people? Our end-time beliefs tell us less about the future and more about ourselves as a species. His beliefs are a reflection of our desire for closure, to have all of the answers to life's many mysteries. It's a reflection of our struggles with uncertainty and strife and hardship. It speaks to our deeply held and innate desire to be at peace. It's also a reflection of our longing to feel important in the vast story of humanity. Feeling so small can make a person feel insignificant. To be one amongst billions. Here's a friendly reminder for you. You aren't actually insignificant. Even though you are one among many, and you are a speck living on a speck, you are one of the only living examples of consciousness in the entire universe. That's not something to take lightly. In fact, I'd say that's a pretty big deal. It's overwhelming It's whelming at best. You know, this idea doesn't have to be overwhelming because at the end it's just you being who you are and doing what you are here to do. Not that big of a deal. All right. This was a short and sweet presentation today. Just wanted to explore some psychological underpinnings of the recent expectation for a rapture. Across history, there have been countless doomsday predictions, and they have come and gone, and yet people still keep making them. Ultimately, these beliefs aren't really about the world ending. They are actually deeper reflections of our hopes, our fears, and our need for meaning. This type of end-time thinking can have major influences on a person's life and on their relationships, for better or for worse. The truth is that every generation feels as if they are the main characters in history. People want to be there to see the grand finale. And so, instead of waiting for the end, maybe we should focus on making the time that we do have more meaningful. And I'd like to end with a discussion question. If you knew the world was going to end tomorrow, how would you spend today? I can't say. You took all of 2 seconds to think about the question I asked, and you're like, I don't know the answer. I'm like, think, Goobins, think. I know exactly what I would do and where I would go, and I also cannot say. That's fine. You don't have to share it if you don't want to. I just want you to think about it. Spend time with my loved ones? Exactly. That's what it's all about. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, love was the whole point the whole time. It's all about growing closer to the people you care about. Newsflash. So, if tomorrow was the last day, you would probably spend today cherishing your loved ones. all of your beloved, friends and family and pets and rocks and trees and flowers and everything that you're near and dear to. So, what's stopping you? Why not do it anyway? Confidence. So you're saying that if the world was going to end tomorrow, that would inspire you with enough confidence to do the things that you want to do? That's all it takes? The only thing that's stopping you from being confident is tomorrow the world will blow up? Is that what you're saying? This is why there's some benefit to living every day like it's your last. It'll inspire you to be more sincere, more authentic. You'll prioritize spending time and strengthening connections with people that you care about, instead of dwelling on stuff that you just really could not be bothered by. You can work on your confidence. The thing about goobins, not to pick you out, goobins, not to pick that goober, but you're more confident than you realize. Because that's how building confidence works. The actual feeling of confidence comes later. So if you're waiting to feel confident in order to be confident, can it kick in? It is an inevitability. I'd also tell my boss I'm not going in tomorrow. I just want to... Okay, let me get this straight. Today is the last day on Earth. And you're gonna spend 5 minutes of that day calling your boss to let them know that you're not coming into work tomorrow? I'm assuming your boss would also know that the world ends tomorrow. I'm a people pleaser. Then why is your boss up here? Maybe we could reprioritize a little bit. Also, don't forget, Goobins, you're people too. You're people too, Goobins. Don't forget to take your turn. Aha! Alright, I will be right back. Let me see if we got anything in the question box. Chat, we're all caught up in the question box. We're gonna go back to taking questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in and we'll get right to them. I'm just gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna take a quick break while we get a question or two in. I'll be right back. Enjoy this music. Beep up day. Beep up day. If I knew the world was going to end tomorrow, I wouldn't really spend the day any differently. Maybe some minor tweaks. Real question is, what music would you listen to? Really interested in this whole world-ending prediction stuff because why it's not beneficial to be scared that the world is going to end. Yeah, and we touched on that. We touched on that because there are some positives and some negatives to believing that the world is going to end. You know, it could make you a kinder, more compassionate, caring, generous person. It could have you living more authentically and genuinely. It could be a good thing. It could be a net positive. It could also be a negative. You might have a sense of superiority, like, oh, I'm one of the chosen few, I'm gonna make it onto the ark. So wait, is today the end of the world, or is that later? I forget. It's either today or tomorrow. Might be next week. If I had known the rapture was going to happen, I would have gotten into better shape for floating naked through the sky. The 2012 end of the world era was way more fun, not gonna lie. Yeah, in 2012 I had a party with my friends. We had a big party for the, we had a big party for the occasion. But nowadays, it's like, end of the world stuff feels much more serious. Doesn't it feel a bit more serious this time around? Especially when there's a global presence of people who adhere to a faith that's centered around the end times. There's a lot of people with a lot of power and a lot of influence and a lot of money that are banking on the end of days. Whether it be religious figureheads or people who are selling bomb shelters and bunkers, doomsday prep supplies. The end of the world is a big business. I grew up having to do the Feast of Tabernacles. Most Americans don't know what that is. It happens every single year in late September or early October. It's silly how people are turning this into Left Behind. Oh yeah, they made a whole movie about it with Kirk Cameron. Let's watch the trailer. Oh, they also made a movie with Nicolas Cage in it. They've made more than one. They've made more than one. Ooh, it's available on the Dove channel. The Dove channel? Like the soap? Let's watch the trailer. They pause the music.
World peace. It's been a dream ever since Cain looked sideways at Abel.
Peace. In the Middle East. Now that would be a miracle.
A global conspiracy.
International bankers, always the same. Follow the money, honey.
For world domination.
Thousands of years we've waited. Generations. And you have made it possible. Yes, my friend. Now we are ready.
Until in an instant, the world is changed. Cloud 10 Pictures, in association with Namesake Entertainment, proudly present Kirk Cameron,
This is insane. People don't just disappear.
Brad Johnson,
I know where Mom and Raimi are.
Chelsea Noble,
They're not here. They're not anywhere.
and Clarence Gilliard.
I knew your message. I knew your word.
Left Behind, the movie. The future, as foretold by the Bible, has come to pass.
The rapture, the vanishings. This marks the beginning of the rise of the Antichrist.
So small, so easily manipulated.
And he will confirm a covenant with the many for 7 years.
This marks the beginning of our 7 years of peace.
The end-time prophecy has begun.
The whole world will feel sympathy and love for me. They will follow me wherever I lead them. Because of you.
Left Behind. Seeing is believing.
He also made one with Nick Cage. Oh my god, I can't type.
Hi, Mom.
Chloe, welcome home.
So is everything set for Dad's surprise party?
He got called into work.
Can I buy you a coffee?
I'm waiting for someone. My dad.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hey.
Welcome aboard PanCon Flight 257 to London. Flight time today will be 6 hours and 30 minutes.
I love you.
People from all over this plane have simply vanished.
This one seems way better.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I. I'll do my best to get them.
I heard some doctors talking. It's not just here. It's all over the world.
One of these days, the sky's gonna break.
Chloe, are you okay?
Yeah, but Mom and Raimi, they're both gone.
One of these days, the mountains are gonna fall into.
Irene knew this was coming. The way it happened. How could she know that?
He took them to protect them from the darkest time in the history of this world.
The God my mother talked about would never do something like this.
We all have a
Well,
right to know we're gonna die.
well,
We're gonna
he
die.
did though.
I have no spoilers, no flaps, no elevators, and if I run this thing dry, no reverse thrust. I need some room. I just really need you to know how much I love you, no matter what happens.
Dad?
Another Nick Cage apocalyptic flick. Oh yeah, Knowing. Knowing is a classic. Another great Nick Cage apocalypse movie. Anyway, isn't it interesting that people think that's what's gonna happen? Oh yeah, they even made a show about it, The Leftovers. Yeah, there's a fair amount of media that centers around this story, which is interesting. How do they keep believing after it doesn't happen? Well, it's a good question. Not all do. Some people are like, hey. Some people are like, hey, hold on a second, and they figure it out. Other people are like, okay. Other people will believe that they have delayed it through the power of prayer. Not right now, Jesus, don't rapture me yet. I've still got more work to do. Thankfully, our faith was so strong, the apocalypse has been delayed. And so for some people, it will be like, okay, now hold on, something's not adding up here. But for others, it may actually affirm their belief even further. I've been lucky enough to escape being in a cult so far. You want to start one? Sounds kind of fun, actually. Chat, you want to start a cult? When did they start making zebra cakes big? It used to be 2 smaller cakes, now it's 1 cake. Why do they have to keep fucking with me? Haven't I been through enough? Why do you have to keep testing me like this, Lord? Hello all, I'm in heaven chatting, freshly raptured. We knew you'd make the cut. We knew you'd make the cut. How's the internet speed up there? Is it pretty good? Hold on, I think something's happening. Hold on, wait. Oh. Chat, I'm getting raptured. Well, it's been nice knowing you. See y'all in heaven. Bye-bye. Oh. Yeah, that party sucked. It was just a bunch of people sitting around singing hymns. It was just a bunch of people sitting around singing hymns. It was boring. Also, the buffet options were terrible. It was like a golden corral up there. Send me to hell, please. At least you can get Burger King in hell. Burger King is the official burger of hell, by the way. Hey, Mr. Brain Domain. Recently, I've been having some issues with lines that I cross when I joke a lot, or sometimes just come off as too mean or aggressive when I try not to. Alrighty, let's talk about it. Sometimes I can be way too much or just not give enough to my friends/family. I feel like I have no way of reading when someone is annoyed with me or actually delighted with me. I constantly ask if others are okay and if there's anything I can do, or if I'm doing too much or too little. Earlier you commented about how reassurance sometimes isn't enough, but I don't know how to myself get an answer from someone who would actually believe it and put it into play on what I should do to better the relationship. If reassurance worked, you wouldn't need to constantly seek it, because you would get the reassurance once or twice or maybe 3 times, and then you're good. Like, okay, I am sufficiently reassured, I am nice and confident now. The reassurance worked. I guess I'm just lost on what I should do to be more mindful to the other person and their needs/wants without feeling like I'm pushing them to tell me what's wrong and possibly upsetting them. Any tips? Try to view yourself from their perspective. Just try to swap places. Is there anything that you're doing or saying that is abrasive? Is there anything that you are doing that's making anyone else uncomfortable? You know, flip the situation around. If other people treated you the way that you treat others, how would it make you feel? In general, I believe it a good rule to follow to just treat others the way that they treat me. Whatever energy you're sending my way, I will respond with that same level of enthusiasm. The emotions fit the facts. That's a DBT skill. DBT has a lot of great skills for this because this is something that people with BPD can often feel challenged by. I also find it helpful to, whenever you find yourself like going back over the events in your mind, try to view it from a different perspective. You know, instead of viewing it from my perspective, I'm going to try to view it from an outside perspective, as if I was just watching 2 people have a conversation. What would I think about the person? You know, we can get so caught up in our own mind, and we can overthink and overanalyze, and it causes us a lot of stress. And so you kind of have to step outside yourself to find the answers that you're looking for. Communication isn't meant to be a perfect process. You got to remember this. You are an organic being, and you communicate with other organic beings by pushing air through your meat tube. Okay? I just want you to remember that. It's an imperfect process. You blow your air out of your meat, and it vibrates the bones in my ears, and I create the impression of sound within my mind. And so there's room for error there. It's a messy process when you really think about it. And so it's not perfect. And so the thing about being a good communicator is if you step out of line, or if you say something that rubs someone the wrong way, you make amends for it. You apologize, you clarify. It's not about being perfect, it's about trying your best, and if you do something to offend someone, you take a measure to correct it. I would also say that if people aren't actively coming up to you and telling you that you're an asshole, then you're probably not an asshole. People love to point out an asshole, you gotta remember this. People love to point out an asshole, so I can guarantee if you actually were an asshole, people would be telling you to your face that you are an asshole. At the end of the day, you can't read anybody's mind. You can't know exactly what it is that they think about you. So you just have to trust that if you actually did do something to upset them, that they would let you know. I just hate that I can't just think about it while it's happening. Like, shit, was I being too weird? No, Goobins, in fact, you weren't being weird enough. Because embracing your weird is an important part of growing your confidence. Everybody's got their own unique flavor of weird. Find out what yours is and cook with it. Still discovering the flavor, and that's okay, Goobins, because self-discovery can be a lifelong process, and that's okay. You don't have to have definitive, concrete answers as far as who you are right here, right now. You don't. It's okay to be a work in progress. In fact, I would say that you should want to be a work in progress. I don't know about you, but I plan on continuing to grow up until the point where I am unable to grow anymore because I am dead. I found that my weird isn't practical to go about life, so I have to filter it. Or you have to find people that are complementary flavors of weird. And then you can really let your true self show. Just think of you like an ingredient. On its own, it could taste good, but it really starts to shine when you combine it with complementary flavors. Then you got a stew going. want to grow and be better every day I possibly can, not only for others but myself, then it's a good thing that that's what you're doing. Right? It's a good thing that that's what you're doing. Try to be honest and accountable when you make mistakes and apologize and work to change or prevent it going forward. But there's only so much you can do. If you're struggling with something, you will slip up even if overall you're making progress. Do we think it might be helpful? Let's try to find a way to kind of reframe this situation that the questioner's in. Do we think that it might be more helpful if instead of seeking reassurance from people, like, hey, do you actually like me? Like, I'm not annoying, am I? Like, instead of seeking reassurance, instead just, you know, if you really feel like you did something wrong, then just try to get out in front of it. Like, hey, if I said anything earlier that made you feel uncomfortable, I'm sorry. You know, I just wanted to apologize. More often than not, they'll probably tell you something along the lines of, oh yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, nothing to worry about. I guess, for example, I was a nihilistic kid, but it doesn't work to do that. Nihilism's okay as long as it's optimistic nihilism. You know, everything is meaningless, nothing really matters. Might as well try to make the most of it anyway. Might as well try to enjoy the time I do have, even though I'm just a speck on a speck. I just want to make sure I am not being too much like my flavor of weird was showing, a bit too spicy, and I need to contain it. That's very thoughtful and considerate of you, so I find it interesting that you're so worried that you're such a bad person. Considering how thoughtful and aware you are. All you can do is try your best. Because there are people out there where you could do everything perfectly. You could be kind and compassionate and patient and all of those things that you think a person should be to other people. And they could hate you for it. Like, ooh, who do they think they are? Going around being so happy all the time, being so nice to people. So what does that mean? Am I just gonna not do that because other people are not gonna like me for it? No. I'm just gonna try my best to be who I think I should be. And I'm gonna keep trying to do that even better. Yeah, Katsuki's right. I've often said, you know, don't seek advice from someone that you would not go to. Or no, don't take criticism from someone that you would not go to for advice. You know, if this isn't somebody that you trust to offer you genuine guidance and counsel in your life, then why would you go to them for criticism? They don't know you. I like to think everyone has a piece of the puzzle. I hope I'm an edge piece. Do you believe in reincarnation? Sure. Because I think it's fun to believe in. I think it's more fun to believe that we don't ever really go anywhere. Things just kind of get recycled. The idea of reincarnation is actually pretty popular in other parts of the world. There are billions of people who believe in reincarnation. You don't really see it very often in Western belief systems. It's kind of dismissed. But me personally, I think it's kind of cool. You know, and there are like stories and anecdotes of like children recalling their past lives and having, you know, explicit recall of like all of these details about their past life. And it's like whether or not you believe any of that to be true, it's like I don't know. I've just had a feeling sometimes when I meet people where it's like we've met before. Just not in this life. Maybe it was a past life. Or maybe we've lived this life before. I don't know. The universe is full of mysteries. I don't want to be the person I used to be. You aren't. How could you be? How could that even be possible? What you're describing is impossible. You are not the person that you used to be. You're not even the person that you were 5 minutes ago. You are who you are in this moment, and that's who you will always be. So who do you want to be in this moment? I understand wanting to change, but if you're too hard on yourself, I don't think that's helpful either. It's true. You stop any progress from, you know, being made. Being hard on yourself can help you to achieve goals, but it doesn't do anything to teach you how to enjoy accomplishing those goals. If you push yourself too hard, what are you left with? You might find yourself with all of the things in life that you thought would bring you happiness. A prestigious job, big house, a fancy car. But that doesn't guarantee happiness. Because all of that is just stuff. I do let my inner critic run the show too much. That means that you have a strong capacity for critical thinking. That's actually a good skill to have. We just need to make sure that it's pointing in the right direction. Like, sure, that fire burns hot. You don't have to stand in it. You can stand next to it. You can let it warm you up without burning you to a crisp. Imagine watching this stream and thinking you're a bad person. The irony. Like, yep, here I am in a space that's committed to healing and growth and self-improvement because I'm such a bad person. I'm such a bad person that I do self-improvement on my free time. What I've noticed about people is that people who are genuinely kind and good people very often think that they are not. Why do you think that might be? Yeah, you're right. It is kind of like an imposter syndrome. It's like an imposter syndrome of the self. You're not out there blowing people up, are you? You're not out there committing war crimes by any chance. Like, what's the worst thing that you've ever done? Gotten somebody upset with your words? Maybe lashed out in anger? Nice try, FBI. We'll get him next time. We'll get him next time. We got him, boys. Person I was before has done some shitty things. Isn't it a natural story arc for a person to make mistakes, recognize that they're making mistakes, and then do better because of those mistakes? Isn't that just a natural progression of things? Or no, do we need to be perfect from birth? Oh, I'm sorry. You've always been perfect. You've never made a mistake ever. You've never even farted. A while back, I watched a video about Herbert Marcuse and his idea of technological rationality. I may misunderstand some parts, but I think he believes that there is no more free time in American society due to people personally identifying with technological commodities, such as cars, radios, new appliances, etc. If he were alive today, I would guess that video games would fall into this description as well. At the same time, I do enjoy my time playing video games. I'm on my second playthrough of Elden Ring. But I worry it's pulling my attention away from what's more important. Is this a healthy way to view my hobbies? Do you think there's an emotional role that enjoyment from video games can play in our lives in a positive way? Yes, I do. It's called a hobby. And that's fine, and that's healthy to have hobbies. We want to make sure that we are practicing delayed gratification. We live in a time where it's very easy to just do whatever it is that you want to do whenever you want to do it. We live in a time of unparalleled convenience. And so we really have to make an effort to hold off on that dopamine until we do what we need to do. You know, maybe instead of just sitting right down and playing games, I should make sure that, you know, I tidy up the space. Maybe I could throw a load of dishes in the dishwasher. Maybe I could cycle out some laundry or take the dogs for a walk. Because there's nothing wrong with having downtime. In fact, you're going to have a lot of downtime in your life. And so it's good to have things that you can have access to entertain yourself during that downtime. But we don't want our life to just center around our downtime. Because after a while, it would start to lose its flair. It would start to lose its effect. Just like you can get burnt out at work or school or in other areas of life, you can also get burnt out on a hobby. If you're just doing it 8 hours a day, every day, you'll get burnt out on it. So you want to have a good working relationship with those things. So that I can sit down and just genuinely enjoy it in a guilt-free way. Is that why some people don't like their hobbies being their job? Yes. Because having that hobby feel like work can ruin the hobby. Like, there are things that I like to do. Like, I like to cook, and people are like, oh, you should start a restaurant. I'm like, no. Why would I? Do you know how many hours restaurant owners have to work? Do you know how much work it is to own a restaurant, and you do all of that just to barely break even? No, thank you. I'm good. I will continue to make delicious food at home, and I will never worry about having to make a living off of making food. Anyway, questioner, if you ever find yourself sitting down playing a game, but you have this nagging feeling of maybe I should go do something else, or maybe something else needs to get done, just think about what that thing is. What is it that you need to get done? How long would it take you to do it? You know? It'll make it more enjoyable whenever you actually do sit down and play a game if you can do it knowing that you don't have any other obligations. But yeah, a lot of people can get addicted to these types of amenities. There are a lot of people who eat a lot of fast food and play a lot of video games and a lot of junk food, and they have a hard time keeping up after themselves. We can get addicted to that quick hit of dopamine, and it makes life feel satisfying, but ultimately, it doesn't take us anywhere good. You know, taking good care of yourself should be a priority in life. And sometimes that means doing things that aren't always fun to do. Dishes, laundry, cleaning your room. You view it as giving yourself a gift. If I clean my room, that'll be nice. I like having a clean room. I'll give myself the gift of a clean room, and then I can play video games in my clean room and not have to stress about how I need to be cleaning my room, because it will be clean. So yeah, sometimes doing stuff that you don't necessarily want to do makes it feel even better when you finally do the stuff that you want to do. And I know what you're thinking, but what if I could just learn to love doing anything that I do? Even the stuff that I don't historically like doing? Well, congratulations, you figured it out. That's the hack. Just learn to love it. Like I like having a clean sink. So I view doing the dishes as I'm giving myself the gift of a clean sink, so that I don't have to look over and be stressed when I see all those dishes piled up. You can get a lot of relief if you just push through that little bit of discomfort. Anyway, I love technology, I love all of the advancements that it's brought, and I love all of the ways that it's been able to help humankind, but there also is an aspect of it that makes me want to return to Monkey and just run out into the woods and build a hut out of logs and clay and moss and rocks. Feels so good to come home and know I don't have to worry about the damn kitchen since I do it in the morning. Yes. Another pro tip, if you're going out of town, wash your bed sheets before you go out of town, and then when you come back from vacation, you can get into a clean bed with clean sheets. It's nice to come back home to a clean house. Working in technology made me hate working in technology. Amen. If you find yourself feeling worried about stuff that's outside of your control, try to find something that's within your control and do something about that. That can do more to absolve the worry. Like, I'm worried about something going on in the world, I'm worried about something political. Let's go ahead and do the dishes. Let's go ahead and knock out some laundry. Let's go ahead and tidy this room up a bit. I don't know about you, but I'm chilling. I'm ready. Take me now, Lord. I'm ready. I'm coming up. Where is Jesus? Well, we're waiting. Where is Jesus? Imagine how embarrassing it's going to be for all of these Western Christians when Jesus returns and he's got melanin. That's really going to fuck with them, isn't it? You know what's interesting is that Europeans and Americans aren't the only ones that do this. It's kind of funny. You think that this is just an American or a European problem, but it really isn't. Many cultures will actually depict Jesus as if he were a member of their culture. So we've all seen European Jesus. And this website's terrible, but just hold me out here. But what about Chinese Jesus? Hey, Bitey Zach, thank you for subscribing. You guys ever seen Chinese Jesus? Hey, at least you remembered. Welcome back. There's Chinese Jesus or Korean Jesus. African Jesus. The Russians had they made him look like a czar. Oh, there's a Jesus manga. Native American Jesus. My bet is that Jesus is gonna look like he's from the Middle East. That's my bet. You know, probably something like this. Probably not far off. Probably something more like this. I don't know what it is with these Anglo-Saxons trying to push this narrative of like I don't know what this is all about. It's like, why do you have such a hard time worshiping somebody that isn't your skin color? That's kind of fucked up. Like, why's it gotta be Ginger Jesus? You telling me that this guy who was out walking around in the sand and in the desert, you're telling me that this guy looks like a guy who would get a sunburn standing outside for 10 minutes? Anyway, I feel like if you aren't comfortable with the idea of Jesus being brown, then you're probably not that serious of a follower. You're like, ooh, yeah, I want to worship him, but he's got to look like me. Yeah, see, here's the thing. Anything that doesn't look exactly like me is scary to me, so, I wonder if human facial bone structure looked different that long ago. I mean, 2,000 years is a decent amount of time for evolution. It might have shifted a little bit, but probably not that much. Comparatively, we're taller than we used to be. People grow better, you know, due to like more, but it's more like nutritionally based. It's not necessarily evolution. "2,000 years might sound like a decent amount of time for evolution, but it's actually not that long at all. Maybe if you're like a bug or a like some other type of small organism, 2,000 years you can do all sorts of evolving, but like a full-grown mammal, we are pretty largely unchanged in the last like 10,000 years at least. You'd see some small stuff, like the amount of body hair that a person has, or the types of food that they can digest. You know, that to reflect those types of changes, like we adapt to the environment that we're in, we adapt to the food that's available. You know, so you would see, I like to look at these as more of like, you could call them like adaptations, or you could even look at them as like micro evolutions rather than like a macro evolution of like, oh, I'm a new species, you know? Anyway, I don't know if this rapture thing's gonna happen. It might happen today, it might happen tomorrow. Maybe some people got raptured already and we missed it. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? When are we gonna make human hybrids with gills? Wouldn't it be cool if humans still had prehensile tails? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Just imagine having a tail, you could like hold stuff with it. Is this the guy? Pastor Joshua Pastor Joshua Malakala, that's gonna be my best guess, said in a September 8th interview that he spoke with Jesus in a vision, and Jesus told him he would be returning to Earth September 23rd and 24th. He said, I'm not sure what day I'm gonna come back. Either the 23rd or the 24th. I'm not sure. I got some things planned. I got some things to get figured out before we start going ahead with the Rapture. So, yeah, but somewhere in that time frame. So I wonder what he's up to right now. Do you think he's disappointed? Do you think he's... will not believe him with that bear brick behind him? Is that what this thing is? I was wondering what that weird bear robot thing was. What do these people say when it doesn't happen? They normally say something along the lines of, thanks to our devotion and our prayer, the apocalypse has been delayed. We have bought more time for mankind on Earth. So they just find a way to spin it. They find a way to spin it to strengthen the faith of their followers. Some of them will question it, some of them will walk away and be like, okay, enough of this nonsense. But other people will be like, oh yes, we are so devout. I had to look these things up because I hadn't heard of these before. Why are they so expensive? Some of these are thousands of dollars. Is this just Funko Pops for rich people? I think so. See, what you really need to do is you need to sell them in a blind bag. You need to sell them in a blind box so that the person doesn't know which bear they're getting and therefore they buy more. Don't you know how this works? What's the most expensive one? Get me out of it. I don't want to sign up. Get me out of here. It won't let me sort unless I sign in. Well, now I'm never gonna buy one. Now I'm never gonna buy one. You lost a sale, sir. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. Chat, what's on your mind? Anything going on lately? Any W's you'd like to share with the rest of us? Any big wins you'd like to celebrate? I like to get my shoes at Costco. My main concern with a shoe is, does it get the job done? If it does, I'm good. Although I did get some Teva sandals because they were on sale. I was in the market for some new hiking sandals. Wait, it's right here actually. These ones. Scared to wear my all-white Vans? Think of the shoes, Goobins. They want you to wear them. Your shoes come alive when you're not around. It's like Toy Story, and they're like, oh, I wish maybe I'll get worn today. Only crazy, but I want a pair of hiking sandals. I love hiking sandals. I got some Tevas and they are nice. My old ones were Skechers and they broke apart. I wore through them. The Tevas are nice though. They got 3 straps, so they're completely adjustable. think everybody got raptured today. I think everybody got raptured, so that explains why there's no questions in the question box. So, anyway, I'll see y'all in heaven. Let me share a gripe with you real quick. Can I share a gripe with you real quick? I just cannot stand the outside stitch on a shoe. I cannot stand that outside stitch. And so you will never catch me wearing a shoe that looks like this. I've heard that they're very comfortable, but I also find them very ugly. Now, don't get me wrong, I still wear Crocs, but I feel like those at least have more versatility. I can wear them in water. I just can't stand shoes that look like sacks of potatoes. Potato sack shoes. Well, Crocs are an abomination. Tell that to somebody working in the restaurant industry. I dare you. Go to your favorite local restaurant and go back in the kitchen and be like, hey, fuck Crocs and anybody who wears them, and you'll get some looks. Crocs are a utility item. It's true, it's for the utility. It doesn't matter if it looks good. It does the job well. I still despise them. Why do you hold room for hate in your heart? I was actually with you. I was anti-Croc until I finally got a pair and I was converted. So, who knows? Maybe one day you'll join the dark side. Also, you can decorate them with little charms and stuff. It's very cute. Crocs and not like the knitted water shoes. I have a pair of those for when I'm on a boat or when I'm on a kayak or a raft. I do have some knitted water shoes. This looks like you stepped in shit and it's permanently encased on the shoe. This is one of the worst shoes I have ever seen. They're like, hey, I took a step in a pile of cow shit and I really want to commemorate it. How can I make a shoe that looks like I just stepped in a big pile of shit? We're just gonna have to agree to disagree on this one. Different strokes for different folks. I just wouldn't want to wear shoes that look like I stepped in shit from a distance. Because there's gonna be people like, is that guy walking around with shit-covered shoes? Don't let him in here. Take those off before you come inside. Done by default. Thank you for the 1 year. Welcome to... Ooh, you've got the brainbow now. Welcome to the 1 year club. this off my screen. I'm tired of looking at it. Remember when people would walk around wearing these bad boys? Now, how can you claim to not have confidence when you wear these shoes in public? Or those other ones you posted? How can you claim to not have confidence? I had a pair, really nice, but I see the applications for them, like if you're climbing trees. Or doing other stuff that requires the individual mobility of every single toe. But I'm good. I like looking different, but in a good way. What I'm hearing is that you've got confidence. It's a good thing. Oh, the rock climbing, these goofy looking things. Rock climbing shoes look so goofy because they're always like, you know what I mean? Like, they're all like, I could never be a rock climber because even if I just can't take the risk. I can't take the risk. Like, oh, how'd he die? Oh, he fell off a cliff? What was he doing? Oh, he was climbing the cliff. Well, you know what I mean? Like, no thank you. I'm good. Just stay clipped in. I'm not trusting any carabiner with my life. I won't even trust the strings on a hammock. I won't even trust the strings on a hammock when I only have 2 feet to fall to the ground. I'm a big boy. I'm not putting my life in the hands of a carabiner. People who free solo, I don't get it. Yeah, adrenaline addiction and perhaps a death wish. I buy the kind that can hold hundreds of pounds. When was the last time you went climbing? You do much climbing? I don't think I have the right body type to be a climber, if I'm being honest. I'm too bulky. It's just a lot of work to heft this up a wall. My strength is more ground-oriented. Lifting heavy things and putting them back down. Bit of a thrills thinking, yeah, I prefer my rock-related hobbies to be collecting. I like to collect cool-looking rocks. I'm okay with climbing rocks. Maybe I'll do a little boulder. But I'll pass on the cliff. Rock climbing is very flow state, very meditative. Life and death situations tend to do that. I ascended, I'm watching your stream from heaven. How's the bit rate? How's the bit rate? Because how's the connection speed? The download good? How's the upload? Are they doing it based on time code? Are they doing it based on like how are they picking who gets raptured first? Are they doing it based on like your name? Are they doing it like, is there a system? I was looking for Freud, but he's not here. Yeah, he's definitely in hell. What coming up with the idea of penis envy will get you straight to hell. What happens to your brain long term after an experience where you think you will die? I've noticed that the couple of times I've had that, it feels like my memory's been wiped and anything before it felt like 1,000 years ago. Interesting question. Let's talk about it. Being in a high stress situation, it changes the way that your brain works. You don't normally retain memories as well when you're in like a life or death situation. As it turns out, you're too focused on getting out of that situation or getting through that situation than to like pick up all the details or to, you know, ingrain those things in memory, because you're kind of in go, go, go mode. As far as long term, if the experience was traumatic for the person, like let's say that it was due to, you know, you're trapped in like an abusive household or something and you've been threatened repeatedly and like that's where the fear came from, it can result in post-traumatic stress. And depending on how intense and how long lasting it is, it can even go beyond that into being complex post-traumatic stress. Anyway, your body normally gives you a jolt of adrenaline whenever you're in these types of moments, and that can have a way of affecting your body's functioning. Anyway, in the long term, anything that was done to the brain as a result of that exposure, I believe that, you know, for most people, that those types of things can be undone. The brain is very plastic, you know, and the things that happen to us might stick with us for a long time, but that doesn't mean that they have to stick with us forever. The brain is capable of changing and rewiring itself, and so in some cases you might see some long-lasting changes within a person, especially if they've had repeated moments where they've felt frightened for their life. It can also lead you to being, you know, anxious. It might make you relive the moment. You might have flashbacks. You might isolate. Any of the symptoms that you would normally associate with post-traumatic stress. I don't know about you, but I'm in an abusive relationship with all of these oligarchs. All of these technocrats. I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with my government. Well, Chad, I think that's going to be it for today. Going to be it for today. Just feeling kind of cooked, and I think I'm ready to go. Get prepared for the rapture. I think I'm gonna get ready to go ascend to heaven. So, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you all for hanging out. We'll be back again tomorrow. Fingers crossed, if the rapture doesn't actually happen. Or it might happen tomorrow, as they said, so we won't know till Thursday. It's wild how the brain adapts to high stress. I've done skydiving and it's fine, but like a car crash is too much. It's because you drive your car every day, but you don't skydive every day. The amount that you are exposed to that event matters. You'll have a great night. See you Thursday, provided you don't get raptured, Goobins. You might not have to go to work. You might get raptured with the Sicilian pizza sub in hand. That'd be pretty nice. You have a little snack while you're flying up to meet Jesus. Anyway, have a great night, everybody. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. Domine Patris Obero. See y'all in the Rapture. Bye-bye.